Welcome to Mingle, Tyler.
Thanks for having me again.
Of course, we loved chatting about relationships a couple weeks ago, so we wanted to circle back on that. And you brought up at the end of last podcast the big ingredient in a good relationship, which is trust.
Oh my gosh, definitely. Really, you can pretty much do without a lot of things, but trust, you can't really do without it.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, a lot of things can come and go and change, but trust is pretty essential. And isn't that the biggest compliment when someone says they trust you?
Oh my gosh, it's the greatest compliment.
Mm-hmm.
If someone, even just clients in
Mm-hmm.
sessions, so many times out there in the world, if we have a trusting relationship, if we have trusting friendships, if we have a trusted safe space, like we can really take that for granted sometimes. So those comments are always deeply appreciated.
It's so true. It's so true. And Tyler and I, the work we do, we don't take it lightly when people trust us because we start off as strangers with our clients. And
Absolutely.
therapy is a really interesting relationship dynamic because it's kind of a, it's kind of this really safe, hopefully beautiful place where you can practice skills and transfer them
Mhm.
out into the world. But you're also building the relationship from scratch, which can be intimidating.
Most definitely. I feel like the word that just popped in my head was like vulnerability.
Oh,
And, I think most of us know what vulnerability means in like intimate relationships and things like that. But I had a client tell me one time when I kind of challenged them, like, what does vulnerability really mean to you? And they said, well, I feel like vulnerability is where you give someone lots of things that they could definitely use against you and hurt you, but you trust that they don't.
oh, that's a great
And it was like,
descriptor.
wow, never thought about it like that.
So true. But I guess, yeah, when you think about it in the lens of a relationship, they do know everything about you or within reason,
Yeah,
or
of
they do
course.
see you on in your worst moments, in your best moments,
Hmm.
and everything in between. So, I tend to see I would say almost all my clients have post-traumatic stress disorder just from the type of therapy I do. That tends to be the clientele I see. And before working here, I worked with people in the addiction field. So typically, my clients do not come in with a lot of trust nor
Oh my gosh, of
vulnerability
course not.
desire.
Sure, sure. It's actually very understandable and, dare I say, normal
Yep.
to not have that trust right away.
Yeah. So, and I know you also see a lot of clients in the addiction field and
Yeah, I started off, still currently see a lot of veterans and first responders. Started kind of doing some hit the ground running in my early stages of therapy with veterans, first responders who came to me not often by choice.
Mhm.
There's lots of really excellent diversion programs for when um, these veterans and first responders find themselves into some legal issues for whatever reason. And I think, the world's kind of shifted in acknowledging the presence of trauma, the presence of post traumatic stress disorder, and all that comes along with it that can kind of lead people on that unfortunate path. So, I was pretty thankful for that. But yeah, trust is not something that comes to the table right away.
So today we kind of want to look at how do you build trust? Because similarly in therapy, I mean, building trust outside of therapy is really hard. And if you do come to the table with some PTSD or some addiction or just some really hard life experiences, what's the cliche? Once burned, twice shy, or something like that.
Yeah, once bitten, twice shy.
Once bitten, twice
Yeah,
shy.
I gotta think
Yeah.
my father-in-law, God rest his soul, he was a huge '80s rock fan,
Ah.
and so that immediately popped in my head with that one.
Yeah. So there's a protective element there, right? If I've been bitten, now I'm a little extra shy.
Absolutely.
And so like what would you say, Tyler, is like what would you say are the baby grounding steps to building trust?
Mm, I think that's a good question, and I think it can kind of be like person specific, client centered. Um, we're talking about relationships, it's kind of understanding what built that barrier and that wall in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
First, it's kind of just acknowledging that that's there, and it's
Mm-hmm.
also um, validating to other people that that's okay that you don't have that right now. I think sometimes just
Mm-hmm.
validating that someone is in a state of, um, that where they don't have a lot of trust, that can really help gain some trust. It's like it's
Yeah.
okay. It's okay that you've chosen to protect yourself, or it's okay that this is. I mean, it's not okay the things that have happened, but it's okay that that part showed up, and it should be kind of honored and gently kind of nourished in a way.
I like that. And I'm thinking back to my own life. People have held the space for my vulnerability without pushing me. That has gained a lot of trust because you're not pushing your will onto me. You're just allowing me to be in my truth. And so that is a
Absolutely.
beautiful.
I love that. Yeah, that 100%, 100%. I think with some of my clients, sometimes I kind of like kind of explain the analogy of like our nervous system responses, like especially the emotional component, is kind of like an alarm system on a house, right?
Yeah.
So we have like the ADT alarm on the wall, which is like the brains of the operation, and all it's doing is really detecting and sensing things from all of these sensors all over our house. And so the brain really doesn't know sometimes when it's been trained in a certain way, whether that's a limb smacking against the window or whether that's an intruder or whether that's a situation like that. The result is it's going to notify the police every single time. And I think that trust piece is kind of like that in some ways.
Totally. And I I'm a big fan of start small and build.
Oh yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
I can't give you my deepest, darkest depths of my soul if I don't know if you're going to be able to handle it and
Absolutely.
handle it with the care that I might require. So Tyler and I started working together. Did you say a year ago? More than a
Oh,
year?
it's probably like over 2 years ago
Over
now.
2 years
That's how
ago.
fast time flies.
Wow,
Yeah.
time flies. Okay, so when Tyler and I didn't know each other before working together, and so obviously when we started chit chatting in the hall, it was very brief and pleasant, but brief. And then in time, it was a few memes exchanged, and then in time, it was music exchanged and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. And even those little things like memes are people's type of humor or music, music can be very personal. But even that builds trust, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. Because if I mean, in a simple way, like things that we find humorous, like to ourselves in a personal way, right? Like
Right.
we don't know who's going to receive that, how they're going to receive it. Like we don't really know this person well enough to
Right.
like put ourselves in a vulnerable state to say, hey, this is kind of the stuff I'd laugh at, or this is kind of
Right.
the stuff that I listen to, right? So like there's this understanding that like, oh, so judgment is not going to happen when I just
Mm-hmm.
kind of share. The worst thing happen is oh, that's awesome, good for you.
Right.
It
Right.
doesn't have to be a negative thing at all.
Right. But it starts with baby steps. Like I have to build that friendship with Tyler through the memes, through the music before I like sit him down and walk him through my trauma timeline. And not that I've made him do that fully, but my point is you build up to it, right?
Of course, absolutely. It's certainly baby steps, and it's whether we realize it or not, it's like we go out a little bit further in
Yeah.
any relationship. Like we go a little past our comfort zone, and then it's kind of normal to retreat back, and
Yep.
we leave a little breadcrumb, and we're like, hey, that went really well. Like even if they weren't into what I was into or
Yeah.
whatever, like it wasn't received with judgment. And so maybe the next time I kind of go a little bit further
Yep.
and a little bit further. And then before you know it, it's like, wow, here's this friendship or here's this relationship that's, it started with like, if we're dating, it started with a simple coffee and it
Mm-hmm.
migrated to like a dinner and now other things.
Yeah. I think I like what you just said about the retreating element. And I want to stress that that is normal and not a regression. I know with a lot of my clients, because of their life experience, if we have a really powerful session where we feel very, maybe they felt vulnerable or we got through a really hard um, moment in session, I can notice sometimes the next session they're a little bit more guarded. And that does not mean you regressed. It just means, to Tyler's point, your nervous system's still gauging, are we still safe here? I just showed you this really deep, what I might perceive dark part of myself. And do you still accept me? And do you still welcome me in here? And I just want to highlight that that is a normal protective feature and not you failing. If you feel that way in relationships and therapy or any dynamic.
Absolutely. And I think when a good relationship in any fashion is hitting on all cylinders, like it's really nice if maybe the other person acknowledges that vulnerability a little bit and saying, hey, I think sometimes in sessions I will pick up on the same vibe from somebody after something's been pretty heavy, and I'm just like, listen, elephant in the room here. We talked about a lot last time, and if you want to keep pushing, I'm right here with you. But if we just need a day to like process as well, like that's cool too. Like kind of, I guess how submission ties in a little bit is submitting to like the person who has the mistrust, like submitting to their timeline a little bit, not always pushing like our agenda.
Oh, oh, yes,
which is hard.
To their timeline. Yes, because similar to trauma work, smashing through someone's walls is not going to prove to be effective.
Not at all. Like in no way, shape, or form. No, not at all.
Any trust you may have stored up will be demolished.
Most definitely. And something like total tangent that kind of came into my head just now is thinking about how, so far the conversation has been like, how do we gain trust in someone else, or how does someone else gain trust in us? But sometimes when we're talking about trauma and like sort of those dark-seated places of our soul, like sometimes we don't even know if we trust ourselves enough to bring that to the surface yet. We don't know how that's going to affect us. We don't know if we'll be able to manage it. So like, it's not just trusting other people. Sometimes it's, can I trust myself to cope with this in a healthy way? Can I trust myself to like vocalize this? And what does that mean if I do? And so it can go in so many different directions.
That's a great point. I mean, I would say 99% of the time it's a mistrust in myself, not the other person. And it's a mistrust in, can they handle me? Did what I just show them be too much or too vulnerable? Or did I cross the line? Not in being inappropriate, but like, did I misjudge how close we are? Or did I misjudge like their tolerance? And I think that's an excellent point. Like it does. In Alcoholics Anonymous, they talk about getting sober as an inside job. You have to do it inside yourself. And I definitely feel that way with trust too. It's an inside job. So I can meet the healthiest person in the entire world. But if I have no trust in myself, I'm probably going to self-sabotage. I'm probably going to test them, whether subconsciously or consciously. I'm probably going to push them away a little bit. So it's like slowing down and building that trust within ourselves.
Most definitely.
How do you do that?
Ooh, build trust with yourself.
Tyler just looked at me like, good luck.
Great question. Like, I think if I'm acknowledging the fact that I'm human, that's kind of a work in progress, like in so many different stages.
Totally. Totally. It's such a work in progress, and it's such a day by day. So like using the example of Tyler and myself becoming like colleagues and then work friends and then friends, like it did build up over time. And even last night, like I sent him this meme that I'm like, I'm 99% sure Tyler's gonna think this is funny, because I like spit out my water when I saw it. But then I was like, if he doesn't, he knows me well enough at this point to know I didn't mean anything bad by it.
Absolutely.
And that's building trust in myself, because it's like, even if it doesn't land with Tyler, I have trust that we have enough of a relationship that he won't take it bad.
Very true. That's an excellent point. And it's also like trust doesn't, like, having trust with somebody doesn't imply that they have to like everything that you like or be in agreement with everything. But again, it's not going to be met with judgment. It's not going to be met with like um, ridicule or any of those kind of words. Like, yeah, like I know who you are and I know why you found that funny. That sort of thing. Absolutely. I've got a lot of memes in my canon, by the way. So.
I'm going to get tons of memes after this podcast. But no, so I think like it sounds silly, but start really small and like start with safe people in your life. Like my best friend, I can show my most vulnerable, anxious side to. And she has a busy life with two little kids. So if she's quick sometimes on a text or sounds annoyed, because we have over a decade of trust together, I can be like, you stressed or you pissed? And just ask straight out, where I wouldn't necessarily feel safe enough with someone else to ask that.
Sure.
But she's a great person to practice with because there's trust, there's love, but there's also a lot of experience with her being honest with me. And there's a lot of experience of, we have worked through conflict and still been fine. And we have worked through her getting married, me getting married, her having two kids, me moving, her moving. You know what I mean? There's right. All that experience. So I think too, when your head starts spinning with, can I trust myself or can I trust this person? Slow it down and look at the evidence. Like I just said, like she and I have survived many a life change.
Yeah, it's like that quick survey of like facts versus emotions, right?
Yes.
Yeah, the fact that it's interesting. There's a little exercise that if any of you are listening, like it's definitely a therapeutic exercise, but I think it's more than safe to do at home. So something that I kind of challenge my clients with sometimes is I take a sheet of paper and I draw a line right down the center horizontally. And in the first part, I'll say, let's set a timer for 5 minutes. And I want you to just vent about a problem. Don't look for solutions. Don't try to judge it. Just like let it flow. If you're done before 5 minutes, great. But after 5 minutes, like that's the boundary. We've got to shut it off. And then in the second part underneath that, I kind of give them the metaphorical prompt. Like if everything you wrote in the top, let's just imagine that somebody that you really trust or somebody that you're really close to came to you and said, hey, here's all of this that I'm going through right now. How would you support them? And when we kind of reframe it like these problems are not mine, they're now all of a sudden maybe somebody else's, our brain kind of switches that switch that says like, oh, facts from emotion. So, excuse me, the support shows up more factual.
I love that. That's a great, that is a great exercise. And I mean, it kind of goes back to that, how we talk to other people so much better than how we talk to ourselves. So I would never tell someone else like, suck it up, you're being a big wimp.
Right.
But absolutely. To myself, I might,
Sure. I mean, some of the greatest therapists there are have their own therapists.
Wow.
Because, in our own world.
Shout out therapists.
Right. Like in our own world, like we're kind of stuck with our own emotional content. It's just really hard to switch that lens. And it's important to have clarity from the outside, people who aren't stuck in that emotional sphere.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of, if you're interviewing a therapist, and you should interview us, not like every time, obviously, but like, because it's about you. But I mean, like when you're deciding who you should see as a therapist, you should ask questions to see if it's a good fit. But I'm a big fan of like seeing if your clinician has been in therapy or is in therapy, because I think that also gives you an insight into how much trust and rapport you can build with them. Because to Tyler's point, if they can't do their own work, how can they hold capacity for you?
Great point. Very true, though. Very, very true. I had a supervisor tell me once, she said, we go through a drive-through to get food really quickly, and we will never hold back about what we want that food item to be. We'll customize it. We'll make sure it's exactly what we want. But yet sometimes in like human services, like when we're going to the doctor, we're going to a therapist, like sometimes we don't feel like we have the permission to say, hey, I don't doubt you're not a good therapist, but
Yeah.
it's not the burger I'm looking for, right?
Yep. Yep.
And
it's
that's
a
fair.
relationship. Yeah. It's a relationship. Like my clients giggle when I say it, but I say like finding a therapist is almost like dating. Like obviously it's not romantic in any way, but it's like we have to just see if we click. Some two people are great. They just shouldn't date. They just don't click. Nothing wrong with either one of them.
Absolutely.
Same thing with therapists. But I like that. I like the asking that question of people because it just lets me know their level of vulnerability and their level of will I go into a hard place. So it's not my business to know if my therapist is still in therapy or what they talk about or any of that, but it is important for me to know, can I trust you with really hard moments?
Absolutely. Definitely. I think the other thing too is that I'm not sure if this is related, but you know me by now. When things pop into my head, it's like, this could be important, so we got to go for it. I think sometimes too, if we ask ourselves honestly, whether we're in romantic relationships, friendships, how many times have we been on the other side of it where like we're like telling people like, oh, I just want you to trust me, like just tell me. But if we're being honest with ourselves, are we in a position to receive that the way that we're kind of letting someone know that we are?
That's so true.
Like I can tell myself all day that I'm ready for somebody to like, open up to me about something really big, and especially if it has something to do with me. But once you kind of hear the words, it's like, oh, that was very crushing. And I was wanting trust, but I wasn't wanting that kind of trust, like those are kind of questions we have to ask ourselves sometimes. Like totally normal to like kind of ask yourself those questions. And that's different than obviously just always questioning yourself.
No, that's like with intention. That's right. The differential,
Absolutely.
Which I love. And no, that ties back to when Tyler and I were talking about asking the other person if they have capacity. That's just asking yourself if you have capacity, right?
Absolutely, yes.
So say in a fictitious world, Tyler and I were in a wild altercation, which I don't think could happen for two calm individuals.
No, and I think we would just have a conversation before it ever got to that point.
Right. But say in this fictitious world, Tyler and I were in a huge fight. We weren't talking in the halls. We were ignoring each other. And I'm giggling because I can't see any of this happening. But if I saw him in the hall and it was 2 minutes before he and I both had a session, and I was like, you just need to tell me right now why you're mad at me. Neither one of us have the capacity or the space. And it's just going to make it 100 times worse.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's going to be no time to lay that out. And we're not even in the emotional state. Like my head is somewhere else. Your head might be somewhere else. Like it's so important to do those check-ins with yourself with intention for sure.
And it sounds silly probably when you hear like two coworkers who are friends talk like that. But like how many times have we done that with our best friend or we've done that with our romantic partner?
Oh my gosh.
Right?
It happens
a lot.
Like, like it's a regular occurrence. I mean,
like, just tell me right now, what's wrong? Are we okay?
Right. And we could go deeper than that. I think as someone's partner, as someone's friend, like we definitely have a desire to fix. Something I kind of know about myself is, I tend to be like very solution focused in lots of things. And that bites me in the butt sometimes in my relationship. I mean, like my wife wakes up, let's say she's not feeling well. She has a, stomach ache or something. And she's like, oh, I'm just really not feeling well. And of course, my mind is being the fixer. I want the best for her. So I go in, did you call the doctor? Did you drink enough fluids today? Do you need me to make you something to eat? And it's just like, time out. I just kind of need a hug.
Yeah.
I just need like permission that I can be sick today. I'm like, you're so right. You're right.
Or I'm so nauseous. I don't want to answer your 10 questions right now.
Right. I don't need any of that right now. Definitely.
So again, like it might sound silly or basic when Tyler and I are talking about it through the lens of friendship, But think about have I done these things in my deeper relationships? And the answer is probably yes. And then we can kind of work back from there. But no, I love that. And I think like as you build your trust within yourself, it'll flow into other relationships a little bit more naturally. Because I can
100%.
sit in the discomfort.
Yeah, it's sit in the discomfort. Like not everything has to be solved like with immediacy. It takes time, and that's okay.
Just got a little anxious when you said that. I'm an immediacy person.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's
Me
tough.
too, right? Like
Yeah.
it's I guess that's kind of like if I'm talking about myself, like that's kind of the people pleaser,
Yeah.
right? Like I want things
Yeah.
to always stay smooth.
Oh yeah.
And I
No
mean,
conflicts.
yeah, like I don't want conflict and I don't want conflict for a relationship, but ultimately like I don't want extra conflict for myself. And so, yeah, I want the other person to have the best that they can have in whatever situation they're in, but I also don't want to feel that either.
No.
So, immediacy shows up not just for them, but a lot of times for me, 100%.
100%. 100%. And yeah, there's so much more on this, but definitely wanted to just dip our toe in. Did you have anything you wanted to add?
No, I think just a good place to start is kind of like what you said, like just kind of having a good intention based search for yourself and kind of where you are with trust. And that's kind of a great place to start. We can't really ask of someone else what we don't really have for ourselves.
Oh, can't pour from an empty well.
There you go. You said it. I love it.
Me with my little cliches today, or my little sayings.
Yes, they're good. They're good. I grew up in the South.
Oh yeah, you're like
My
keep them
euphemisms
going.
are how I connect with the world on the regular. So
Love it. All right, like Lenore always says,
mm, everything's going to be okay. It's all going to work
it's
out.
all gonna work out. It's all gonna work out. Thank you, Tyler.
Thank you.